It's your boy T-Bear Reaction. Today is Films Friday, so we're gonna go straight to the Dead Meat Kill Count tonight, and this is classic wrestling because I got finished watching a wrestling promo from The Rock as well too, the new promo he put out. It is classic movie, classic horror week as well too. We're getting back to the classic horror because a lot of folks been wanting me to react to some classic horror like the Draculas, the Frankenstein as well too. I'm going in order of somewhat in order of the release of the movies, and I kind of really like to say somewhat because I went backwards a little bit. I should have did Dracula first and then Frankenstein, but I knew they came out the same year, but I should looked up to see what month they came out. But that's another story. This one is like a later date as well too, and we'll check out the original Invisible Man. Came out in 1933. So not too long ago, I did react to the newer Invisible Man, so we're going to check out the OG Invisible Man as well, too, from the 1930s. So anyway, without further ado, let's check it out.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at The Invisible Man, released in 1933. Based on the 1897 book by H.G. Wells, with elements of the 1931 Philip Wiley book, The Murderer Invisible, The Invisible Man was one of Universal's OG horror films, directed by the same man who had helmed Frankenstein 2 years earlier, James Whale. Just like with Frankenstein, The Invisible Man is a story of science gone wrong, with a scientist fleeing from his fiancée to do mad experiments in isolation. Dr. Jack Griffin is a man who has discovered how to turn himself invisible, and though he can't quite figure out a way to reverse the process, he's happy to be unseen, for it will give him the opportunity to seize power. Unlimited power! The Invisible Man would, like all the Universal monster movies, spawn a whole damn franchise. He'd make a return in 1940, the same year that a woman became invisible. He'd become a wartime agent in 1942. Wow. He'd have his revenge in 1944, and he'd hang out with Abbott and Costello in 1951. Though it's worth noting, the Invisible Man in these movies is an entirely different character each time. I won't be covering those sequels anytime soon, but on Sunday, I will be looking at the latest installment in the franchise, the modern adaptation by Leigh Whannell, which was also the last film I saw in a theater in the before times. Before I cover that though, I thought we should take a look at the original film to see where this story began. How many kills can there be in a movie made 87 years ago? Well, you might be surprised.
But yeah, shout out to this being also like the inspiration to the other film thriller that was close to as well too, which was Hollow Man as well too. So anyway, let's not leave that out.
The movie begins in a snowstorm just outside of Iping, or Toiping. Iping's Lion's Head Tavern is a happening place, full of laughter and music and smoking, so much smoking. But the good times are interrupted by the stark and snowy entrance of a figure with a bandaged face.
I want a room and a fire.
He's given his room and a fire by the tavern's co-owner, Jenny Hall, played with all the gusto in the world by Una O'Connor, a talented Irish actor who spent 2 decades performing on stage before transitioning to film as a character actor. You can tell she has a theater background by her very specific physical acting. Jenny tries her best to make Griff comfortable, but he brusquely brushes her off when she asks to take his coat.
No.
Una O'Connor was the original dramatic chipmunk. Jenny later walks in on him and sees his bandaged head, which fuels suspicion among the barflies about where this unknown stranger came from. The mouthless mystery man comes from a land of science, but he's been away for an entire month now, much to the chagrin of his fiancée Flora Cranley, a character added by screenwriter R.C. Sheriff as he adapted Wells's novel. Flora's played by Gloria Stewart, who was an environmentalist, a co-founder of the Hollywood Anti-Nazi League, and, oh yeah, Old Rose and Ty frickin' Tannen.
Really?
Holy shit!
I'll be goddamned.
Her father and Griffin's boss
Wow.
is Dr. Cramley, an early film role for Henry Travers, who would go on to play the guardian angel Clarence in It's a Wonderful Life. He tells his daughter not to worry too much about Griffin's whereabouts. After all, scientists will be scientists. She leaves her dad's office and goes to another part of the film set where she's followed by the camera and this dude, Dr. Kemp. She tells Kemp, who is one of Griffin's peers, that she's not used to her fiance leaving her in the dark like this.
He was always so keen to tell me about his experiments.
Kemp says that Griffin has always scienced to the beat of his own beaker, and since he ran off on her, how about you get with me and my mustache?
Oh, leave me alone!
Is that a oh, nope, that's a no, huh? Wonder if I made it worse. Griffin's trying to find a way to uninvisi himself, but it's hard to get any science done when ladies keep trying to bring you tea. I don't want tea, lady! Go!
Damn.
Don't take it personally, Jenny. Griff's just more of a lemonade guy, except when there's too much sugar in it. To hell with ye calories! Jenny's husband Herbert tells Griffin that he needs to get the fuck out of this room, cause he's turned it into a science lab, and also, like, he hasn't paid for it in weeks. Griffin needs more time though, and pleads to Herbert to let him stay, though the tavern owner is resolute.
I beg of you. The wife says if you don't go, she is, so it's gotta be you.
But Jack Griffin is a bit of a nasty man, so he assaults Herbert when he tries to touch his stuff, then throws him down his own damn staircase. Yo, y'all need to go get the cops. And please get the most stereotypical one you can find.
Yeah, what's all this?
That is fucking perfect. Thank you. Constable Jaffers walks into the tavern and takes out his best beating stick. But hey, no kids at the beating. This is adult stuff. He enters Griffin's room with another "What's all this?" and tells Griffin that
Sorry.
he's here to
Remind me of the cop Henry reminded me of the children's story video from Slick Rick. That's how he made me do the Slick Rick sound. Doom 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 doom.
arrest him for throwing Herbert down the stairs, cause that's assault, brother. Griffin responds by saying they about to get their asses whooped.
All right, you fools. You've brought it on yourselves.
Oh shit, who the fuck is this guy?
You're crazy to know who I am, aren't you?
It's like he knew. Jack Griffin is played by English actor Claude Rains in his American film debut. Prior to this role, he had been a stage actor in England after rising to the rank of captain serving in World War I. Though other actors were considered for the role, including Boris Karloff, who played Frankenstein's monster, and Colin Clive, who played Dr. Frankenstein, Rains was director James Whale's first choice because of his powerful voice. After all, without any facial expressions being shown, the character's emotions had to be conveyed entirely through his voice and physical gestures.
Nice.
Griffin starts to remove his bandages while laughing maniacally, because if it's two things Jack Griffin knows how to do, it's be an asshole and laugh real loud. Luckily, Constable Jack
The OG Joker.
Jaffer's the kind of guy who can figure out even the most difficult of mysteries.
He's invisible. That's what's the matter with him.
When they go back to his room, they find Griffin nothing but a shirt. And after a pretty fun proto-Scooby-Doo chase, he strips to his invisible birthday suit and tells them exactly how he got this way.
A few chemicals mixed together, that's all.
Oh, that's all. Just, chemicals. Griffin's disembodied voice says that as an invisible man, he's gonna rule the world, robbing, raping, and killing as he pleases. And he'll start his crime spree by strangling Constable Jaffers to unconsciousness, but not death. He then leaves the tavern in a memorable sequence where a whole bunch of extras do a great job selling his invisible presence. And sure, in HD you can see the strings on that bike, but this is still really fun stuff. And just more evidence that Griffin's a total asshole. Put that broom down, brah. Don't knock over a baby, what the fuck? Back in Science Land.
Even with this one, sorry to call it, even with this one, that's fucked up.
Doctors Cramley and Kemp search Griffin's office for clues as to what he's been up to, and it's there that they find a list of chemicals.
And the last on the list is monocaine. Monocaine?
Monocaine! Cramley says monocaine is a hell of a drug. It draws color out of things,
hell of a
and when it
drug.
was tested on a dog, it made it turn white and crazy. That explains why Griffin's been wilding out so much. That night, Griff sneaks into Kemp's place to wild out some more. But maybe that guy deserves it, keeping a picture of Griffin's fiance on his mantle. You creepy, Kemp. Griffin turns off Kemp's radio and begins talking to him, impressing his peer and the audience, most of all when he sits his invisible ass in Kemp's rocking chair. With a log on the fire and the threat of a beatdown, Griffin gets Kemp to sit down and give him a cigarette. Guys, this movie is from 1933, the friggin' New Deal era. This must have blown people's goddamn minds. Even the shot of Griffin in Kemp's pajamas, while a little shaky, is impressive for the time. This movie's groundbreaking special effects were done by John P. Fulton. While a lot of them were done with simple wire effects, the stuff involving an invisible Griffin wearing clothes required a more sophisticated approach. To that end, they wrapped Claude Rains' skin in black velvet and filmed his actions against a black velvet background. They would then combine that shot with a shot of the empty set, removing all the black through a screening process that I don't entirely understand. Another effect later required getting a mold of Rains' head, which was extra uncomfortable for him because of an experience he had in the war.
He had been gassed during the war, and this process was awful to him.
Griffin puts on his finest pimp attire and struts downstairs to tell Kemp what's what as soon as he's done serving looks. He sits across from Kemp and gives us his story. He's been working on invisibility for 5 years now, and what started as mere scientific inquiry turned into an obsession when he realized he could rule the world this way. Griffin's megalomania wasn't as prominent in the original Wells novel. That's something that Sheriff took from The Murderer Invisible. In Wells's book, Griffin is less a mad scientist and more a political revolutionary, which is not surprising given Wells's own outspoken proclivities. What's wild to me though is that H.G. Wells was still alive when this movie came out. That's how old this thing is. Here he is with Carl Laemmle Sr., founder of Universal Pictures and father of this movie's producer, Carl Laemmle Jr. Since he still hasn't figured out the whole Control-Z part of this superpower, Griffin demands that Kemp become the visible half of a two-man partnership in crime.
We'll begin with a reign of terror. A few murders here and there.
Reign of terror.
But Kemp refuses to go along with murder.
Do you want me to take these off?
No.
Very well then.
Never mind, I guess he's in. So now he can drive Griffin's freezing invisible assicle to go get his science books from the Lion's Head Tavern. At the tavern, a chief detective has taken over the case from Jaffers, and he thinks the story is one big hoax brought on by imagination and inebriation. Griffin has Kemp wait outside the tavern as he sneaks his way back inside the building and his room, where he collects his books. After very gingerly opening
I'm back, let's keep going.
The curtains and windows, he drops them down to Kemp outside. Right as the detective's about to write this whole thing off,
I shall announce this evening that the whole thing's a hoax, and you'll be the laughing stock of the entire country.
Griffin goofs him well enough to get a close-up reaction. Jenny acts like there's an invisible mouse as Griffin shoves a friggin' pitcher at her head and just causes a general ruckus. It clears the place out of everyone but the chief detective, who is killed by Griffin via strangulation and a baga! That fucking table actually hit that dude in the face, for real I think. Oh man.
Lord.
And Griffin ain't even sorry about that ish.
Killed a stupid little policeman. Smashed his head in.
Jesus, that's cold, Griffin. And Jesus, that's cool, Griffin. Sitting there having tea time while you discuss the shortcomings of being invisible.
In a fog, you can see me, like a bubble.
Yeah, you would look like something in the mist. After giving Kemp his list of rules, he sends the guy out of his own damn guest room so he can get ready for bed. Nothing like unwrapping your face after a long day of murder and snuggling up into your blankets. I think we can all relate. Special effects artist John Fulton called that mirror shot the most difficult one he'd ever done. They had to combine 4 separate shots for it. One of Griffin's back as he's unwrapping his head, one of the room that he's sitting in for that shot, one of Griffin's front in the reflection of the mirror, and finally, one of the background in the reflection. Damn impressive work.
They did a lot for this movie. This movie came out in the 30s though. That's wild.
With the chief detective dead, Griffin is a wanted man, so a bunch of biker cops are scrambled and public broadcasts are put out that warn everyone about the Invisibastard. If you see something, say something, folks.
I'm making the bet right already.
Everyone listens and does their best to keep their houses safe from Griffin and or zombies. As Griffin sleeps, Kemp calls up Cranley and tells him about his situation. And Cranley admits to his daughter that, yeah, about that invisible madman the news keeps talking about, it's your fiance, womp womp. Kemp then calls a very laid-back cop and tells him Griffin is at his house. So will they please come and help him now, please? Griffin wakes up and asks Kemp why he's in his office. Come on, Kemp, don't be trying no shit. After all,
We're partners, bosom friends.
bosom friends to the very end.
Heidi ho.
Uh-oh.
They see Dr. Cranley and Flora arriving, and Griffin, quite surprised, admits that he nearly forgot about the existence of his dear fiancée. Kemp lets them in, and Flora goes to meet Griffin alone.
How wonderful it is to see you.
Wish I could say the same, partner. Griffin tells Flora that he did all this for her. Their marriage would be so much better if he were a famous scientist who could sell his famous science.
The nations of the world will bid for it, thousands, millions.
Okay there, dude.
Hold on.
Maybe take it down a notch.
Hold on. All right, I'm back. Let's keep going.
Flora wants Griffin to find a way to be visible again so they can live a happy life together. But Griffin just keeps talking about how he wants people to grovel at his feet.
Grovel at my feet.
You're gonna have to face the facts that you might just have different life goals here. And you better figure your shit out fast, cause the popos just arrived, thanks to Kemp's earlier phone call. Jack Griffin will remember that. Griffin tells Flora he'll come back for her, but he's really gotta get the fuck out of here right now, so bye! Whew, wife's gone. Time to strip. Invisible again, Griffin berates Kemp for his betrayal and promises that he'll kill him tomorrow at 10 o'clock. The cops circle the house and Red Rover their way over, but their best efforts are bested by a bunch of invisible schoolhouse pranks. Aw, poor Officer Drake Maverick. Griffin enacts some Invisi-chaos and steals a cop's pants before getting
Whoa.
away from the police, then chases a random woman down the road while singing schoolyard songs.
Here we go gathering nuts in May, nuts in
Lords.
May, nuts in May. Here we go gathering nuts in May on a cold and frosty morning. Whoops!
The police, rightfully embarrassed, talk to Kemp and Cranley and learn that the Invisible Man is Jack Griffin. Too bad a name ain't gonna help these search parties, and it ain't gonna save anyone that Griffin sets out to kill. No longer from mere strangulation, but by throwing them off a cliff.
Whoa.
He gets two dudes that way, goddamn. Then, I hope you big numbers nerds are watching, cause Griffin knocks out a train dude and fucks with some levers in order to crash an entire train of people, killing them by sending the train off a cliff. The number of casualties, 100
I'm really gonna say it. That was fucked up. Damn.
even, comes from a dude's line a little bit later.
And 100 in the train disaster.
In the interest of transparency, that guy also mentions 20 search party people killed,
The 20 men of the search parties have been killed.
but we only saw those two dudes thrown off the cliff. I'm not gonna count reported deaths that we didn't witness of characters who we never met. Oh, but peep the reporter in this scene. He's played by an uncredited Dwight Fry, who was the hunchback assistant Fritz in Wales Frankenstein. With such a big head start on his murder stats, Griffin has time to play Robin Hood for a mo.
A present from the Invisible Man. Money, money,
And he, really gets into it.
money, 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 money.
Oh shit, is Shane O'Mac in the house? The police, who are trying to figure out a way to capture Griffin, need to make sure he's not in the room listening to them, so they
little man banging
landfish
the
the
door.
entire place. With their nets coming up empty, these kids are ready for story time, and they gather round to hear the plan,
Lord.
which is basically,
Yeah, reference.
don't let Kemp die. Kemp's given the weirdest friggin' police escort you could ever ask for as they take him through the streets and drive him out of town. Dressed as a police officer, Kemp hops in a car, ready to escape to the countryside before 10 o'clock, when Griffin had promised to kill him. A clock tower strikes the hour, giving him a false hope of success.
10 o'clock. 10 o'clock, he wanted to murder me.
I think this will do nicely, Kemp.
Oh shit,
yeah.
got
Yeah,
him.
Kemp done goofed by betraying Griffin because, much like the Countdown app, Griffin always keeps his murder appointments, and Kemp's time is up. Griffin strangles him with a scarf and ties up his hands and feet, but the biggest beating of all comes courtesy of Griffin's words.
Well, goodbye, Kemp. I always said you were a dirty little coward. You're a dirty, sneaking little rat as well.
Goodbye.
With that, Griffin sends Kemp's car crashing off the cliff, killing him in a movie-only death since Kemp survives in the novel. Thanks for adding to my workload, movie. After the assassination, Griffin hides out and sleeps in a barn. Ah, the old John Wilkes Booth, huh? The barn's owner hears him snoring and goes to tell the police, who just got doubly lucky, because this sudden snowfall means they can better track that naked invisible mofo. They get to the barn and surround it, then light fire to the structure so they can smoke him out. The plan works, and Griffin flees the burning bales of hay, and the cops watch as he makes footprints in the snow. With the help of their service weapons, he makes a body print as well. Those footprints in the snow were accomplished in a clever way. I believe the ground here is a platform covered in artificial snow, and then foot-shaped blocks of wood were dropped out from beneath it. Again, amazing work by Foley.
did a lot of work
Even
with
if
this.
technically those footprints should look more like bare feet. Griffin is taken to the hospital where his condition is described as totally fucked. He's asking to see Flora, but first she's gotta know what she's getting into.
The effect of the drugs will die with him. His body will become visible as life goes.
Yo, that sounds dope. Let's see it. Flora's brought in, and after Griffin apologizes to her for meddling in super science, she gets to witness his reappearance. First, his skull becomes visible, and then, very slowly, his face is shown for the first time in the film as Jack Griffin dies. Shame, too. That Claude Rains is a handsome feller. How many people did Jack Griffin invisikill? Let's find out, and oh my god, it's a ghost! Here we go off to the kills today, kills today, kills today. Here we go off to the kills today as we all run off to the numbers. Whoops! 105 people died in The Invisible Man, which is a big number, but still doesn't put it in the top 5 highest kill counts. The victims were 5 dudes and 100 unidentified people on a train, so hope you like your pie charts extra crunchy.
I think that's what's on that full great.
With a runtime of
What's the great
72
pie
minutes,
chart?
that left us with a kill on average every 41.14 seconds. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to the train
I
crash.
figured that'd be a
I mean,
train.
Griffin crashed a whole friggin' train. That's some wild shit. Dome machete for lamest kill will go to the chief detective, I guess, even though it probably gave the actor a black eye. And that's it. The Invisible Man came out in 1933 and was one of Universal's biggest movies of the year. I'll look at Lee Winnell's 2020 version on Sunday, but until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Count. Thanks a lot for watching this Kill Count. I want to thank some patrons like the Sticky Situations brand, Mr. Nice Guy, RNBSN, very cool, Desiree Onsty, Gerald Kunn, HMUA, Albo Peets, and Salvatore Volpe.
There you have it. So next week will be it will be alternative week as well too, featuring the kill counts of like webisodes, animations, and video games as well too. Based on how many I have, I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna do the if I'm gonna do a play in week or not. Who knows? Other than that, if you like my reaction, like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's your boy T-Bird signing off. One love.